presented by Under Armour and Sleeper Fantasy. Welcome to Light Years. Andy Lou, the losing streak is over.
Dude, it's felt like it's been a year, maybe two, maybe three. You see Steph raising his hands like like clapping, like a mock celebration, like they won a championship. This is where we're at. I'm happy though. Good enough. We'll take it.
It wasn't a good game, and I'm not necessarily feeling good, but like you and I both knew they just needed to get a win and figure it out from there. Like inevitably when you're 6 in a row, like that's kind of a wild
Is that
stat,
true?
right?
Is that real? Is that true? Wow.
I gotta look it up, but it's up there in terms of how long it's been since he's been on a losing streak, particularly a losing streak at home. Like
Oh my god! So even that team that basically tanked for Wiseman.
I'm assuming they're not counting the games he was out injured.
Okay.
Because there's no way. Because that team lost 6 in a row many times.
Okay. I mean, that's a crazy stat. It's a little
But inevitably, like they were on a bad losing streak. They probably should have snapped it against OKC. There's at least 2 games in that they should have. Anyway, putting that behind us, ugly win, but a win nonetheless, and some interesting quotes post game about that. But here we are. They are off of it, and we'll take it. We move.
It feels like that's the general vibe of this team right now. Is that even when they get a win like this, 121, 115 or whatever it was, it doesn't feel like a super, all right, we're absolutely back type of game, right? It's not a, we're good, we move forward, we've clicked, it's not a we figured something out game. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not like they figure out defense or they figure out offense. Sam, to me, they just shot the cover out of the ball tonight. Like, that's probably the number one thing we should talk about is that, I mean, Steph made shots. Steph's always made shots. Wiggins made shots tonight. Clay made shots tonight. And Chris Paul made shots. Chris Paul's been making shots the last couple games. But he made shots tonight. Dario made shots tonight. So, like, that's it. They made almost 33s tonight, Sam. Like, that's why they won tonight's game.
That is why they won tonight's game.
I guess that's how regression works, right?
Yeah, and what was I going to say? Here we go. I got the
okay.
So it feels like the shot overall for you and this team is starting to come around.
Yeah, I think we're just finding a good rhythm. That last game against OKC was a tough loss. We wanted to come back in here and bounce back. It's been an up and down season for us so far, and we're going to figure it out.
Chris, it looks like you guys have figured out the offense. 18 made threes last game, 21 made threes tonight. A combination of yourself in pick and roll, but also dropping the ball in the post a little bit, collapsing the defense. I feel like you guys really generated high-quality looks for Steph, Clay, and Andrew Wiggins tonight, and yourself as well.
Yeah, we've just been talking about ball movement a lot. I've played against this team a lot in the past, and the way they move the ball, we're just trying to get back to that, trying to get open looks and keep the ball moving.
This one didn't have the other quote I wanted to say, but he said, we're not going to really figure it all out until Draymond's back. And overall, like, I can't disagree with him. Up and down, it's still kind of an ugly thing. They are starting to figure some stuff out on offense, but until Draymond's back, it's going to kind of be like this, right?
Yep. It's a lot of Şengün's kind of beasting you in the middle. Even Jabari Smith is getting free walks into the rim, right? The guy that really wasn't impressive to me was Jalen Green tonight. Looks like it might be a rough future for him. They've got some other really good young guys, right? Like, I enjoy Şengün and those guys. But yeah, I mean, Sam, it looked like it was pretty easy for those guys to score the entire game, even when the Warriors went up like 13, right? Because they don't have Draymond and because they don't have GP2, right? Too, like he looks like he's going to be back soon, but because they don't have those two guys, I mean, those are your two best defensive players. It's pretty rough out there. So they just had to shoot like they shot tonight they were never in doubt to win this game, at least, right? Were you really stressed that they were going to lose this game? I mean, it wasn't in doubt, right? The OKC game's a little different, but this one,
yeah, and like tying to it, so let's just talk the offense then a little bit. I mean, we're 15 games into the season, and this is a Chris Paul team. I'm sorry, it just is right now. Like he's talking about them moving the ball. I don't know that I saw much ball movement. I think I saw a Chris Paul offense is what I saw tonight. And like the numbers dictated too. He had 12 assists. The team had 26. Steph basically played like a shooting guard all game because he's Steph Curry. It doesn't much matter because he'll score 32 on 14 shots. And, it's like, it's a chicken or the egg thing there. Like, is he just floating off ball because Chris Paul is kind of that kind of point guard? Or is he doing I'm conserving my energy and I'm just going to hit shots when I need to? Because you could convince me either way with him, the way it goes.
Yeah, it felt a little bit like, honestly, I couldn't tell you, but it felt a little bit like the latter in the beginning where it's just like, okay, I get it. He wants to keep guys involved. They gave Clay the ball for like 7 straight.
Oh, he had like 9 shots in the first 8 minutes. Yeah,
that felt like a concerted effort from Steph to say like, "Hey, I'm not going to shoot. We're just going to get the ball to Clay. And we're just going to get him going no matter what." Which, sure, I mean, he got going a little bit tonight. And then last game you saw that with Wiggs. Yeah, I agree with you. It's not exciting to watch. The exciting thing, but I also think Steph, wants that right now. I think Steph partly doesn't want to be the guy that has to be on ball all game long. I think he's pretty happy.
Oh, he's told us that like time and time again.
I think
that it's like I'm not trying to wear myself down doing that in November.
Right? So I think part of that is what they're doing. The other part is, part of that is Draymond would be doing a lot of what Chris Paul would be doing right now too. What is really not making it a Warriors type offense to me, Sam, is that when you think of a Warriors offense, right, dude, they get a stop, they get a rebound, and then they get a transition 3, right? We're not seeing that right now because they don't have Draymond in. That's it. They don't have Iguodala, who's one of the greatest defenders of his generation. We're talking years ago, but hey, those guys get stops. You kick it, Clay, Steph, transition 3, boom, right? We're not seeing that right now.
It might be that simple. It might be just, look, man, I'm used to the Warriors playing one way. I want to watch them kind of turn defense into offense and play with a little more movement, get into transition more. Did you know they were last in transition in the NBA entering tonight's game?
Oh, wow.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, but that's like, wow, they're just not getting into transition in general. And like, those are things I'm associated with this team during the entire Steve Kerr era. And it might just be as simple as Draymond's not there. Like, Looney's not pushing in transition. Dario Saric is not ripping and running like he's Draymond, or is he getting stops like he's Draymond? Right. So it's just kind of like, it might just be he's a special player.
Yep.
Like, I know people love to call him a role player, system player, whatever it is. Man, he is a system player because the Warriors system doesn't work without him.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't. I mean, that they may miss him. I mean, they miss him on defense. I'm not going to do the zag that like they may miss him on offense more than they miss him on defense. But when you look at stuff like this, I mean, they had to shoot. We got the box score up in front of here. They shot 21 of 43 from 3. They shot 50% from 3 tonight, and they win the game by 5. Look, I don't want to be a reductive person, but that's not great. It's not.
I mean, they shot it that well against OKC and they lost, but like, your point stands.
Yeah,
like,
true.
if you shoot the 3 that well and you're getting 40 plus of them up, you should walk away with the game. And if you don't, it just speaks to the fact you can't do anything else other than shoot the ball. So that's kind of where we're at. Again, game 3 of his suspension. We're not going to see him Wednesday. We're not going to see him Friday. It is what it is. They're going to, like, honestly, if they can get above 500 when he comes back, as ugly as it's all been, like, you got to take that and you got to run with it.
Right.
It is what it is. I'm just, I think it's just that simple. Like, I want to make bigger picture takes on it, and you just can't until you see them with their defensive anchor. And I don't know, is Draymond their second best player? You know what I'm saying?
Like, he's by far the second best player right now.
Yeah. So it's like, it's one of those things where it's just like, you may be mad he got himself suspended. You may be annoyed at everything he's done, but you don't have a replacement. You don't have someone else. So until we see him with him, it's not a completely fair read on where they are as a team.
Yeah. They got the Suns on Wednesday, who've been kind of up and down, kind of like the Warriors, and then the Spurs,
similar,
which is winnable game, right? So you win both, you get out of there. But I think I'm kind of with your sentiment though. Just watching this is just, we don't want to be the bad guys here. Yeah, but it's like, man, I don't. It's a game you win by 20. You know what I mean? Let me watch the Chiefs and Eagles in peace.
And it's like, let's be honest, Houston's on a back-to-back. Yeah. I think Udoka's done a good job of taking them from being like a joke to like, this is a respectable team, And Sengun's a star in the making. Like they got some positive things there.
How good do you think he's going to be?
Better than Sabonis, but not as good as Jokic. I love that those are the two obvious comps.
Okay.
I think
those are the obvious ones.
I think he might be better than Sabonis this year, honestly. Like, I don't know, man. I haven't seen Sabonis drop 30 on the Warriors.
Sabonis a bad matchup for Sabonis has a season.
It might just be a matchup thing. You're right. Like it might just be Looney just owns Sabonis, and so I don't give him the credit he deserves because he's a good player.
Yeah.
But like I don't know, Sengun. I don't want to compare him to Jokic because it's like when people compare anyone who can hit an off the dribble three to Steph. Like, no, they're not like him, But like he does have that like comfortable with his patience and just hitting flip shots through contact thing, which is very hard to do. So I don't know. I think he's going to be good.
Through contact. I like him. I like it because of that. He likes to play through contact. That's not.
He's
something he can teach.
Yeah, it's like, look. Do you think he's been slow at every level he's played? Yeah. So he just knows how to play within himself, and I don't know what the limit for him is, but I think he's gonna be an all-star. I think he's objectively Houston's best player.
Yeah,
and he's only 21. He was actually drafted after Kuminga and Moody.
The chat says 16th. The chat said he got drafted 16th. Yeah.
Looking up his exact birthday.
Insane.
No, I mean, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, he's right there. So I think he's a pretty good player. I don't know about that, but to your point, like whiffing on Jalen Green number 2 kind of hurts. I don't know that he's ever going to be anything for them. Amen Thompson, who they took this year, just is hurt. So I feel like if he's a dude, then they got something. But like I don't really know where he stands right now.
Yeah, I mean his brother's playing okay, right? He's playing well defensively.
Pretty good, honestly.
Yeah,
but
I'm sure it'll be fine. Right? Yeah. Okay. So back to your point, you're right. Right. The Rockets are a solid team, but this is one at home that they're all 0-5 on the road. I mean, they're 0-5 on the road. Mm-hmm. This is one you've got to win. They should have won going away, but whatever. Like you said, keep it moving. It's something that they had to do to get over the hump, and you kind of wait for Draymond. Next up.
Let's pull up Steve Kerr's audio from pregame because
yes.
Because it was a thing.
Doozy.
I get it up here real quick.
I'm gonna settle on a.
I don't know. Like I said, it's sometimes it's really clear and it just happens, and then other years it's not as clear and you have to experiment. And you have to give guys opportunities, and it's really hard when you're losing to decide on your top 9 or 10. So we just got to keep going and try to win each game and see what takes shape.
Does this remind you of a season from previously?
Not really. I would say most of the time since I've been here, we've had a pretty clear top 9 or 10. I don't think we've had a season where I felt like 12 or a possibility on any given night. That's a good sign, though. We got a really good roster, but we've just got to figure it out, and it's going to mean that there are going to be some people who are unhappy, and it's going to be how it goes.
Yeah, last one on this. I mean, in some ways, at times your young guys can be performing better than your veterans. How difficult is that decision of potentially lowering veteran minutes for young guys?
Yeah, and all that has to be factored in. I mean, look, I'm really patient, and I've got guys who are championship players. And, you look at Clay and Wiggs early on; they both have struggled. But I'm of the opinion that we got to show some patience because we know what they are. And you look at Wiggs the other night. I mean, he looked great, and so I think our patience has been rewarded. I think you're going to see a different Wiggs from here on, and I think the same thing's going to happen with Clay. So all of that factors in the early part of the season when, I would say a guy like Moses, for example, I think he deserves more playing time. I think he's played really well, and he's just got such a great approach. And but there's a lot of factors as to why he hasn't, and some of that is we're trying to get Clay and Wiggs going. Some of it is we're trying to play some other guys as well and see what some combinations look like. So that's the difficult part if you're a player involved. You do everything you can, and you still might not be rewarded, and it's frustrating, but it's all part of the job.
I feel like this is the only meta story to talk about at this point, and they won tonight, but what do you think this team's ceiling is, even if you insert Draymond Green in and we're playing Chris Paul 35 minutes, Steph Curry 35 minutes, Klay Thompson 35 minutes. Obviously, Draymond would be in that 30-some minute category. And all the guys who are under the age of 30, I'll throw Wiggins into there too. All the guys who are under the age of 30, the Moody, the Kuminga, the Bajemskis, they're playing 15 to 20 minutes. Do you think that they can get past the second round with something like that?
Yeah, coming into the season, I thought they were a second round team. So I'm going to nothing I've seen has really changed my mind about this team, that they're a second round team. And to Steve Kerr's quote, his patience with the vets is, I think, on one hand, I think very fair. Right, I think it's very fair. I think you've got to believe in your guys. They've been your guys forever. I don't think you can just say, "Hey, you're going to go play 15 minutes a game." But I think on the flip side is very much I don't know if these guys are going to get you to a championship ceiling anymore. And I think maybe that's specifically even to Clay, less so than Wiggins, because I do feel like Wiggins is kind of. I do think he'll get back. I think he'll be fine just because he's younger. But I think with someone like Clay, it's if you want to get past the second round, if you want to beat the Lakers again, or you want to beat the Nuggets, hell, if you play them in the second round.
I'm worried about beating Minnesota and OKC.
Minnesota. Let's throw Minnesota in there, right? Well, maybe not New Orleans, but Minnesota in there. Whatever. I don't think you can do that. Just saying, hey, I'm going to ride these guys in the regular season 32, 3, 4 minutes and just say, all right, Kuminga, play 18 minutes tonight, right? Same thing. And then he goes out the end of his little speech and goes, yeah, I mean, we got to find Moody more minutes, but, there's a couple factors why we can't do that. And it's well, then what the fuck are we doing here? If you're not going to have the chance to develop these guys, then I don't know, man. Unless Clay turns the clock back 5 years, I don't think you guys are good enough to win anything of value.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. It's on the one hand, I think you just wanted to win tonight, and they got the win, so I can't there's nothing else to say there. On the other hand, it's I don't know if Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga can be those young athletic wings that take this from a first, second round team to a Western Conference Finals team. But I do know if you're trying to guard some of the younger, more athletic teams with a 39-year-old Chris Paul, a 36-year-old Steph Curry, and a 34-year-old but 2 surgically repaired legs, so in some ways even older Klay Thompson, it's pointless. It's not going to happen. So you've got to invest a little more time in the young guys because it's your only shot. It really is your only shot. Play those guys more. Either they take a jump, and there's been times since preseason I felt like Moses Moody and Kuminga look like they're on the verge of it, but I'm not, how it goes. You're 50% oh, is it happening? And the next game you're I'm not quite sure. They're close, right? But it's you have to give them those opportunities because your roster is just capped out otherwise. If not,
it's capped out.
That's
the way to put it. That is the way to put it. Your roster is capped out. And dude, if I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think either of those guys are good enough to get them there. I don't think they are. But you gotta find out, right? You gotta find out more than what they found out so far.
Yeah, but
and also if it doesn't work, then you gotta trade them then. So the trade deadline is for, right? Then
well, and that's the other part of it. Like let's say you're right. Let's say they're not good enough. Them playing 25 minutes a game and putting up better numbers is going to open up more trade options for you, unless they're completely like Wiseman-esque. But like you just couldn't play him. You know what I'm saying? Like I just can't see a scenario where Moody looks terrible in 25. If he's playing 25, 26 minutes. But maybe you're like, it's still not the guy. Odds are he's still going to intrigue someone as a trade target, right?
Also, it's better.
I'm not saying you should play him just to trade him. I think you should play him to see what you got and see if he can be that like more athletic 3-and-D wing. Not young Clay, but like someone who can like give you something similar to what like 25-year-old Clay gave you, right? Or that's asking a lot.
And I mean, end of the day, what they've been doing hasn't worked. So it doesn't matter what the hypotheticals are. What they've been doing hasn't worked. And to me, the biggest ones are Wiggins, right? They've kind of let him kind of do whatever he wanted in the past year. That hasn't worked this year. I'm talking about this year. Hasn't worked this year. And then with Clay, they're just giving him all the shots and all the minutes that he wants. Hasn't worked. That's two guys. Your third guy, Draymond, they've kind of just, again, let him kind of do whatever he wants.
It's just who he is.
It's just and he hasn't played in almost half the games this team is going to play.
Entering tonight's game, he's only played 32% of their total minutes. Like he's just like being frank about it, he's missed more than 2/3 of the season.
Those are your 3 out of your 4 guys. You know what I mean? And now you're also playing Chris Paul 34 minutes, and you're playing him next to Steph where you don't have enough defense. It's just really, really rough all around, and it reflects in the record. They're 7-8. They're not 500. So we don't get to sit here and talk about how things are amazing when they win a game. They're still 7-8. They're a playing team right now.
I just want to throw it out there one more case. You may not think Moody and Kuminga can take that step in the next 50 to 70 games, but I know they're not going to take that step when they're hamstrung like this. Like I'd rather just see it because I just have no faith in this setup doing anything of substance.
No,
that's kind of where I'm at with it. Anyway, all right, we'll leave it there. Should we get to the goons? Do we got any goons who want to call in? If you want to call in,
we should get to the goons. We should get to the goons. Do you want to do sleeper first? Or you want me to do the other two?
That's a fair question.
I'm
currently a little butthurt on my sleeper lineup. Maybe we'll do that right now. Let's do that. Oh, you know what? I won big last week on sleeper.
Yeah.
I won big, and so I decided to roll it over and play 3 props for tonight's game. I played Steph with the over, which just always hits. Even when he's not playing, even when he's like not trying, he hits the over. I played Fred VanVleet's over, which absolutely did not hit. It doesn't really matter beyond that, It doesn't. Yeah. Looney didn't hit the rebounds. I thought he would because I thought Şengün was going to play. I thought we'd get, Looney'd have to play 25, 26 minutes, and he's just a machine on the boards. Anyway, I did not hit. That's the way it goes. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But the good thing is I won a 5+ to 1 bet last week, so I'm still up.
Yes, sir. You're still up. Thanks to Sleeper Fantasy. And don't forget, use the promo code LightYears. You'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. All right. This week's Light Years podcast is brought to you by Under Armour. Steph Curry makes you believe you can do anything like he did tonight, like he does every night. And the Curry 11s are specifically designed with the ultimate bounce, grip, and stability to allow everyone to do their thing. New generations of ball players are coming up and showing the basketball world that the old rules do not apply. The future is exciting, fast, positive, and hungry. This NBA season, rock with your favorite player and rep his shoes on and off the court. The Curry 11s are perfect for both the committed and casual ballers. The UA Warp tech makes the shoe feel like it was designed for your feet, locked in no matter what you do on the court. Stop in your tracks with the dual density UA flow, cushioning in traction, an emergency brake you don't even notice. Steph's 11 signature shoe steps into the second decade of a sneaker career, pulling colorful inspiration from the wonders of a positive and modernized future on and off the court. Take these shoes with you when you leave the scrimmage and rep UA. Wherever you go, do your thing, change the game. The Curry 11 Future Curries is available now at currybrand.com. All right, this show is sponsored by Betterhelp. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime with no additional charge. This time of year can be a lot, and it's natural to feel some sadness or anxiety about it, but adding something new and positive to your life can counteract some of these things. Therapy can be a bright spot amid all the stress and change, something to look forward to make you feel grounded and to give you the tools to manage everything going on. Find your bright spot this season with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/lightyears today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lightyears.
I think you knocked your camera over.
Yeah, I'm fixing it. At least it worked. At least it worked.
There we go.
Tetchion with the comment. Nice internet. Bugs up the camera. We're back. We're good.
All right, let's get Adam up here.
All right, to the goons. What's we got,
up, guys?
What we got?
How you doing, man?
Good. Well, I got a concern from watching that game, and so I want to ask you guys this. Do you guys think we were duped by JK's preseason leading the league in scoring? Because from what I saw tonight, especially with some of his basketball IQ decisions, like, not taking Jeff Green off the dribble, attacking the basket, he does a three instead. And he has a tendency to do these like mid-range fadeaways like he's Kobe or Dirk. And then those instances where we saw him get those back-to-back fouls with the technical, usually you would see Kerr pull him out in previous years doing that. But part of me thinks he's trying to maybe buff up his trade value a little bit just so we have that optionality before the deadline. So I just want to hear you guys' thoughts on what you're thinking so far of JK, because, it's his third year and everything. And if we don't see this breakout this year, I don't know when we'll see it. So just want to hear you guys' thoughts on that. Have a good night, fellas. Appreciate
the call, my man. I mean, he's inconsistent. I'll be the first one to say he's inconsistent. My entire thing, and your point is correct. He'll make a wow play and then follow it up with one where it's like, where is your head? And that's just kind of that's the Kuminga experience right now. He makes that dunk on the fast break. You're just like, my God, and then follows it up with getting beat backdoor for a layup that like anyone should be aware of going on. It's up and down with him. That's why my whole thing is coach him up. Your priority shouldn't be Klay Thompson and Chris Paul over him. Those guys should know how to play basketball. Your priority as a coaching staff should be being on him and actively coaching him up during the game a little more. I don't know if he's going to take a step. I don't know what you're going to get out of him this year. I just know he's the only guy with the physical skill set to do the things you need to actually be a potential good defensive team. And so it's worth it to try instead of just being like, ugh, he doesn't get it. To the bench. Chris, get in there. It seems it's pointless to me.
I be the bad guy here, but I just don't think he knows how to play basketball the way that they want him to play basketball, man. I think some of it is just I don't think he knows how to play basketball, a winning style of basketball. Like I'm watching Jalen Green tonight, and I'm watching Jonathan Kuminga, and I'm just like, those guys probably those guys kind of deserve each other. Like they kind of just like need to be on a team to just shoot like 18 times together. they're kind of flawed to try to play defense on a team level. They kind of really don't know where to be on offense outside of let me get the ball and do my thing. I don't really know how to cut, screen. Like, I don't know, Sam. I'm going to sound like an asshole. I just don't know. Don't think he knows how to play. And maybe part of it is like the coaching staff needs to do a better job. But as year 3, man, this is kind of like it's not the same as the Wiseman thing because Kuminga's at least an NBA player. But
it's far from that. It's
but
very
he's
far
not.
from that.
I just don't think. I'm not seeing it. There's nothing to see here right now. Like, he makes a 3 tonight. He gets to the rim a couple times. Okay, but his defense is not great. Like, he's supposed to be a great defender because of his athleticism, but his defense isn't great. His on-ball defense has gotten a lot worse from last season. I don't know. I kind of feel bad for him because he only gets to play 18 minutes and he has to sit down whenever he makes a mistake, right? So it kind of sucks for him. But, I mean, that's life.
I mean, the player he reminds me most of is Kelly Oubre, which is not a great, and it's not even the best comp I can come up with, but it's just kind of like has all the physical tools, makes wow plays, but like when you watch him, it's more bad than good, right? Like, chat's getting mad at me going, oh, he's way smarter than Oubre. Yeah, he is in a sense, but it's like that was a superficial kind of like, fine wing, gonna have a 10-year NBA career, does certain things, probably makes too many mistakes to be a winning player in the big picture. But with that said, there are not a lot of 6'8" guys on this team, not a lot of 6'8" guys who can move their feet like him or get up like him. It should be your priority to find out if you can turn that inconsistency into a winning player, or if he's just going to be inconsistent and then move on from him, like that's kind of where I'm at with it, where it's like, all right, we can trot out Clay, Steph, Chris Paul, Looney, Draymond for 40 minutes a game, and they're going to give you a spirited second round loss to a team that's more athletic than them. Or you can see what you got with some of the younger guys, and you know what? You may still end up just a second round out, honestly. You may, but the first path, I feel like it's locked. The second path is an unknown.
Yep.
All right, keep moving. All right,
boys, how's it going, man? Man, come on, Sam's like, I know your kid didn't die, so at least be a little bit pepper.
Oh, what's up, man? I'm getting an echo.
on your end, by the way. Oh, my fault. My earbuds just died, so I can't go with the earbuds right now. My question is like, I think what the development part is like, this is year 3 with Milovic, I believe, is the big man coach that helped with Looney. So my question is like, if a lot of our hopes is for Joku to do a lot of the things that Eric Gordon with the Nuggets is doing right now on their way to a title, like with a lot of the screening, rolling to the rim hard, a lot of energy, putbacks and whatnot, I'm confused as to why he's not being more involved with Joku's development, and he's at the school of screening with KD for whatever reason. So that's my only take, personally.
I mean, it's fair. It's a fair question. Like, I don't know. I don't know where they're at with him. Like, it just, now we're turning this into just the whole thing with him, but it's just kind of like, I want to see more. I want to see him play more, because watching the old guys just not getting it done.
I also don't know what he's like. What have they developed with him? I'm gonna make it a whole thing because I like being that guy. But like, what have they actually developed with him? What has he gotten better at since year 1?
Shooting.
Yeah, okay. I guess his shot has been better than it is since year one, right? You can say he's a much more he's a more consistent shooter. But other than that, I wouldn't say he's gotten really any that better at anything. Right? Can't really dribble.
Yeah, but has anyone really had the space to show if they can or can't?
I think we know that he can't dribble. But to your point, I have always said, same as last year, that he definitely should still be playing more. I just also think that he's that good. But yeah, he should be playing more. It's very simple. We watched Corey Joseph play 12 minutes multiple times this season. Yes. Objectively, he should be playing more. Yes. Correct.
And then you can also tie it to someone like Moses Moody, who it feels like a cleaner fit in some of these things.
Yeah. And it's not like he's great, right?
Chan asks how much of development falls on the coaches, how much on the player.
Both.
It's a magic question. If anyone can answer it, it'd be great. But I know the head coach has said he wants to give his vets space to figure it out. So I know he's not helping. That's what I know. So I'll leave it at that.
All right. That's good. It's a good way to cap that off and keep it moving. All right. You're muted, brother or sister.
I mentioned Kelly Oubre.
Mistakes.
There we go. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
First time calling in. Been listening to you guys since the pandemic, so
appreciate it.
Yeah. I was just calling. Something about Joku's game just like irritates me. I don't want to hate it, but something about it, like it's just whatever he does, his flaws show to me. But I was kind of thinking, where the record stands and where the roster is. Do you think, like, with the amount of guards we have with Moody, GP2, Steph, CP3, and I'd like TJD to get some minutes. Like, do you think that a trade is needed? Not necessarily for Zach LaVine or a named player, but just another wing, another big that we think has an IQ that is, around that 26 to 29-year-old range. Because I think the previous person was talking about Aaron Gordon. I think he was pretty bad on the Magic.
Yeah, I mean,
And
him
so
and
he had 5
Wiggins,
years to
him
kind
and
of figure it
Wiggins are
out.
like the perfect example of bad as the man on the team, and then very good when they're not the man on another team, right?
Yeah. And kind of like, same thing with Wiggins, right? Where it's like, kind of realizing his role and where he can flourish. And
Who is
starting
that
role.
guy now that the Warriors control? Who is that guy now? I don't.
Zach LaVine.
Zach LaVine is not that guy.
I ain't
now.
mad. That dude
Is
can
Caruso really
score.
like another guard? I think watching the defense just funnel everyone into the paint, and then we have no one that can do anything in the paint. Like, as much as I love Looney and he needs a statue as soon as possible, like him and I don't know, just watching everyone funnel in and get easy layups is frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, do they need a trade? Too early to say, because they're not going to make a trade before mid-January anyway.
They need a trade.
No one does, though. You know
They
what I'm
need a
saying?
trade.
That's why I'm focused on develop your guys right now, and you open up the fucking door to make a trade. You open like these are. We're gonna get to here's what's gonna happen. They're gonna play Chris Paul 35 minutes a night, and then we're gonna get to the trade deadline, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, no one wanted what we had." It's like, "Oh, shocker! They didn't want the players you wouldn't take off your bench." I cannot believe that no one thought Kuminga was any good because you won't play him. I can't believe no one wants Trace Jackson Davis because he plays 4 minutes a game.
Well, he's untouchable. That's for me. So,
but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's.
I get it. It's yeah. Let's keep it moving on the next one. I don't got much left on Kuminga. Yeah, Chet loves OG Anunoby. Yeah, no shocker. He's definitely the next version of the Aaron Gordon, Andrew Wiggins type, just a wing that can defend and stick a shot.
Yeah, but he's actually a winning player now. Like the Wiggins the Wiggins
Aaron
Gordon type.
You're right.
Like a guy miscast where you're like, this guy sucks. and then you see him in a different situation. You're like, ooh. Oh, no,
that's right. You're right.
14 points per game. That dude's a dude.
Kyle Kuzma's another one in the chat. Love that one. But the thing is, he's already won a championship as a role player, so it doesn't count.
He's more in the Jordan Poole camp.
I like Kuzma. He's not Jordan Poole. I like Kuzma. If Warriors get Kuzma and they keep Wiggins and like Clay, we're cooking with some. You know what I mean? But I don't think that's
who on Detroit's. But like if you want to go down the Wiggins, Aaron Gordon route, it's got to be someone in like a situation where you're just like, it sucks.
Jeremy Grant.
Yes,
Grant.
That's actually a very good second
That could be someone. I mean, they just signed him to a fat contract, and he's
fourth option. Jeremy Grant, very nice.
Yeah.
Second option, Jeremy Grant. You're gonna win 26 games.
I've watched some Blazers games.
Although, do the Warriors need a fourth option, or do they need a second option?
It's a good question.
I think they do. I mean, my honest answer is they just need a player.
An option.
Dynamic. Just give me a dynamic guy, like a guy who. If you give Draymond a couple dynamic wings, I think they can be a good defensive team. It's not really that complicated.
I'm in on Jeremy Grant, by the way. I just thought myself into. I'm out on Zach LaVine because I will never be in on Zach LaVine, but I'm in on Jeremy Grant. I think he could be a useful.
RJ Barrett?
No. You watched RJ Barrett? Have you watched him?
Oh, I have my fantasy team.
Oh, dude, yeah.
He's
a good defender. He's a decent defender, I think. But
I'm just saying that's the example of a guy where you're like, this guy sucks. And then you get him in a team where he's a fourth option, and all he has to do is defend and hit an occasional shot, and you're like, maybe.
Chad says Cam Reddish. That's been a hell of a pickup for the Lakers. I mean, they figured that one out. Oh, you don't think so?
In a nice couple of weeks.
Okay, all right.
I'm be a hater. All right,
Moose.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's good. What's up, guys? One thing I realized with this Warriors team this year is that it's built for the regular season, but I don't think this is built for the playoffs. And let me explain real quick. With Chris Paul on the team, I really feel like Steph gets to rest in game. Like if you watched him this game, like the first quarter and other long stretches when he wasn't touching the ball, I think he likes that during the regular season, and it requires him to put in less work, I guess. But the issue is in the playoffs, I don't think they could really rely on benches outscoring the other bench because, the playoffs, you need like 8 solid players in your rotation. So one thing I don't get what they're going to do this year is, listen, I think they're going to win some games. I think this current losing streak is kind of an anomaly. But I think Steph really appreciates this roster. But at the same time, I really don't know if they're going to make a trade midseason because I think it's going to work out, and I think they're going to pay for it in the playoffs. So I want to know what you guys think about that. I want to know what you guys think about how this roster construction is compared to the regular season and the playoffs. So
it's a great call. That's a great call.
Yeah, I mean, Moose, great call. I feel like that's the point that Andy and I have been dancing around, where it's like, I mean, I'm arguing they should play Kuminga for this exact reason. This isn't a playoff team, or like this isn't a
championship.
Yeah, exactly. This isn't a championship. This is a team that will get to the playoffs that will. Oh, shocker! They're going to go against OKC, and they're going to look too slow and too unathletic with the geriatric millennial lineup. Like it's one of those things where it's just like invest in your younger players to see if they're better. But to his point, which is I don't know, it's the same point, I guess.
Yeah, I think he's right. I think
the chat says you got to get to the playoffs first. Give young guys some run now. I mean, yeah, that's the other part of it. When you're on a 6-game losing streak and you're 6-8, you just need to win. You need to win and worry about runway later. So
I'm gonna do a conference watch right now, Sam. Just real quick, 10 seconds. The top 10, I think, consists of most people that should be in the postseason. The teams that are behind the Warriors right now are the Clippers, Jazz, Grizz, Blazers, and Spurs. The Warriors are 10th right now, by the way. So of those teams, maybe the Clippers, you can argue, although they're a mess. So, I mean, like the Warriors will be a play-in team, which is not saying much. It's just not saying much. But it's you got to go through these teams that are not you cannot be the old team, right? The Kings, the Mavs. I mean, the Kings, the Thunder, the Nuggets, and the Timberwolves are what I'm thinking of. It just feels like the same thing over and over.
It does. The chat saying it feels like a repeat of last year.
Sure.
They're currently not making a case for me to argue different.
No.
It's just a different type of mediocrity from last year. Last year they were running around with their heads chopped off. Right now they're walking around looking old. That's all.
Yeah.
So.
All right, we got one more.
I don't know if they'll win more games this year, but yeah, we get one more.
Wait, what did they win last year? 30, 46?
44.
44. Shit, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of gross.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Yeah, I'm a bit under the weather, just like you, Sam. So, but yeah, I wanted to talk also about the development part, and I agree with everything that you have been saying so far. I just want to add that it seems like from the first of all, when Andy said that Kuminga hasn't developed in the last 3 years, I just want to say that I don't think any young player has developed under this coaching staff except maybe Poole. And even Jordan Poole, we saw him play behind, had to sit on the bench behind Brad Wanamaker, go to the G League, develop his game, and then came back and averaged, I think, like 20 points in the last part of the 2021 season. So I feel like just there's no intent to develop young players. And the other thing is not all young players are the same. Some respond to one way of coaching, some respond to another. And if there's no like consistency in minutes when you're not rewarded for good play, like for example, Kuminga played really well 2 games ago and then he was back on the bench last game. So it's like, even if you play well, you're not sure you're going to start next game. If you make one mistake, you're going to get taken out. And all of that snowballs into what, Sam, you were saying, that you need the young players, at least in the regular season, if not for anything else, then to show the rest of the league. So you can trade them if need be. And also you can save the legs of some of the vets. Like we saw last season in the playoffs, Steph's legs were shot after the first round because he played so much in the regular season and we went to 7 games against Sacramento. Clay's legs were shot because he also played. I think he played the most minutes on the team last regular season, and he had nothing left in him for the Lakers series. So, if nothing else, the young guys can at least snatch some minutes from the vets, so that the vets are fresher for the postseason. So, yeah, that's
a good point. That's a good point.
That's just where I'm at with it. I think at minimum we can argue what they're doing right now is not working. Not in terms of getting you to where you want to get to. So, try something different.
No.
You know.
31 minutes.
Try calling a timeout when the other team goes on a run on Saturday night. You know, try coaching up your young guys. These are just thoughts.
Try.
It's gonna take me a while to get over that loss.
Try putting together 5 guys that are long and can guard a 3-point line. Maybe try fouling up 3. Maybe
Corey Joseph, power forward.
Played 31 minutes tonight, by the way, which I think is about right to where he should play every game.
Yeah, I was gonna throw this up there. When they had their road trip, the one where they went 5-2, or they had one home game over the 7-game span. The minutes distribution saw Steph at 32 minutes, Clay at 30 minutes, no one else above 30 minutes. Everyone else was in the 20-ish range. And that's probably the appropriate way to coach this team right now. So I understand for one game you just want to get the win and you're going to ride Chris Paul and Steph and what you got to do. But like they need to get back to this, like everyone's playing 20 to 30 minutes. And, you know, if Kuminga's going well, he's at 28 and he's going poor, it's at 20 type of thing. And Moody, you know, like play it the whole way through because that's where this roster – I don't know where that leaves them overall, but like it gives you a better chance of developing it out to be something sustainable.
Yeah.
All right. I think we leave it there. Appreciate it, everyone.
See you Wednesday.